What if the NFL restarted with a fantasy draft here in Madden 23? Well, for me as a Giants fan, I would be all for it because it might be the only way to actually get talent onto the roster. It's been tough the past, decade, really. I know in 2011 the Giants won the Super Bowl. They weren't even particularly good that season, but they made it. And sometimes that's all it takes, right, is a big playoff run. But I would really love for my team, and I'm sure for some of you guys, if you like the Jaguars or the Lions or the Texans now, you'd probably be okay with a fantasy draft as well. If you're a fan of a team like the Rams or the Chiefs or the Bucks or the Bills, you probably wouldn't like this. A whole lot of other great teams too. And let's go ahead and see what pick we get. Oh, 19. Okay. So, usually in these fantasy drafts, I have a strategy, and it's really draft players that are about to break out. Draft players that are real young, but already a decent overall, and preferably a good development trait too, but you also need a quarterback. Tom Brady's here. Aaron Rodgers is here. Probably going to avoid some of these other options. Aaron Donald is here. Jalen Ramsey. This is actually kind of a tough call. I'm tempted to go with Rodgers here just because he's like the last elite quarterback remaining that isn't deep into his 40s at this point. Like Tom Brady's obviously a stud, but Tom Brady's also 45 years old. If we're going past one season, Tom Brady's probably not going to be an ideal option for me. I think what I'm going to do is play it safe. And Aaron Rodgers is already in the thumbnail, by the way. The thumbnail was made before the video. And it just so happens that I can take Aaron Rodgers anyway. We're going to really try and compete this year. And the best way to do that is with an elite quarterback, back-to-back MVP. He's also up to some crazy stuff. Like he's doing ayahuasca and I don't know, some beads and sleeping with special rocks under his pillow. I don't know what he's doing. Weird stuff, but he's still also really good at football. We're going to take A-Rod. Jamar Chase goes just the pick before here. That would have been a really good option. The age there, plus the ability, made him a really obvious choice. Unfortunately, we just miss out. Now, DJ Moore is available. That's also not a bad option. He probably only has star dev. He does have superstar. Is DJ Moore just the obvious pick then here? Really good player. Hasn't had the best quarterback group to work with during his time in Carolina. Now, it's also not a bad idea to sort by development trait. Is Darius Leonard superstar? He's superstar X Factor. Interesting. So is Tyrann Mathieu, who we are obviously not going to consider because he's into his 30s. So I think, Cam Jordan might be the end. He's also superstar X Factor. Okay, there are a lot. Now, Penei Sewell surely is not. I don't think an offensive tackle can get superstar X Factor. At least not at this point in time. Maybe that changes at some point. But these should be all of the superstar X Factor players from Von Miller up through Darius Leonard here. But I also want to focus on valuable positions plus younger players. So I'm not sure I'm going to take a superstar X Factor player. Obviously, Darius Leonard's not the worst option. I just feel like he's not super valuable to a team. In Madden, at least, he's great in real life, don't get me wrong. But he doesn't really rush off the edge. He's not a corner, not a receiver. It's kind of a replaceable position. I know I'm going to get flamed for that, but hopefully you guys understand what I'm saying. Ooh, Denzel Ward? Only has star dev. He had only star dev last year. I don't understand why that is. He's such a young and talented player. I know Aaron Donald is still on the board. Do I just No, I'm just going to take Aaron Donald. Whatever. I'm just going to take the best player here. He's just too good to turn down. I'm not going to overthink this and try to play it too smart. I'm going to take arguably the best player in the NFL, arguably the best player in the NFL over the past decade, one of the best, if not the best defensive players of all time. And before you go and disagree with that, old head's going to tell me Lawrence Taylor or Reggie White. They're obviously in the conversation, maybe even like Ray Lewis or Ed Reed. Aaron Donald is unbelievable. He's been an all-pro every single year he's been in the league, except for his rookie year where he won Defensive Rookie of the Year. He's a multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year, I think 3 times at this point. He is unbelievable, and he's on my team. Davis Mills goes so high in fantasy draft. Okay, the CPU really prioritizes quarterback. There are some good players still available, but as you can see, a player like DJ Moore is off the board right now. Denzel Ward is still here. AJ Terrell is still here. Only with star development, but that's not really a bad option at all. Is Jeffrey Simmons still available? I think he's going to be listed at right end, so he just might not be here. Yeah, he's done. DeAndre Hopkins only star dev now. This is going against my usual draft philosophy, but these really good players who are just a little bit older and maybe don't have the top development trait in the game are lasting on the board, I feel like, way longer than they should. I'm going to go ahead and take... It would be so good to get some of these guys. I'm going to take Denzel Ward, though. It's tough to get really good corners. He's only 25 years old. I think it's the right pick, and maybe we'll go back for offense with our next one. There goes Trent Williams, arguably the best tackle in the NFL. DeAndre Hopkins is still here. Justin Simmons is here. AJ Terrell is still here. Rashawn Gary wouldn't be a bad option here. Only 24 years old. Really good. Explosive off the edge. I'm going to take Rashawn Gary. I know I said we go back for offense, but he's also one of the best and youngest overall edge rushers available. I think it has to be done. And Roquan Smith playing inside linebacker for me, I feel like would also be a really good idea. I'll consider it. Do want to check out some of these offensive players, though. Running back we can wait on. Like Saquon, if I can get him with my next pick, I'll be fine with that. Even if I can't, if I have to go down the board a little bit to like Javonte Williams or Cam Akers or J.K. Dobbins, like that's still fine. Receiver, we haven't taken a receiver yet, right? Odell's still good, a little bit older. Same thing with Tyler Lockett, really. And Odell's also coming off injury. I'm not sure if that's going to be in the game in fantasy draft. I think it probably would be, so I'll probably avoid him. Michael Pittman Jr. would be quite good. I don't really love the options at receiver right now. I'm going to have to take a higher rated one, and that's going to be Tyler Lockett. 90 overall. He's actually 29. I thought he was more like 30 or 31. So good value here for Tyler Lockett. Not the most exciting player. Like Tyler Lockett is not going to completely wow you with mossing anybody, but he's just a good, consistent player that's going to get open. And with Aaron Rodgers, feels like a pretty good fit. With this pick, I'm going to go Antoine Winfield Jr., only 24 years old, really good over-the-top free safety. I think he makes more sense than Justin Simmons because he is 24 years old versus 28 or 29. And whereas Justin Simmons will get worse in overall next year, Antoine Winfield is only going to get better. And I could even take Marcus Williams and play him at like strong safety. It's not really his game, but it is an option. And same thing, I could move Antoine Winfield Jr. over as well. Looks like Josh Jacobs just got drafted, so of course you can tell behind me. I'm going to go Saquon Barkley here, but for good reason. Still quite good in the game, only 25 years old, star development, still has a ton of potential. In real life, obviously has to stay healthy, and he needs to show that he hasn't lost a step like it looked like last year and some of the year before. So we're going to go Saquon here, and hopefully he bounces back big time in real life. And I think in game for us, he's going to be perfect. My guy, Quandre Diggs, one of the most underrated players in the league, really. Hook 'em horns. If you're new here, been waiting to work one of those in. I don't know that we're going to take him, though. Justin Tucker, Hook 'em horns. But at strong safety, I like the idea of a lot of these guys down the board. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, Jeremy Chin, Justin Reed. Those are probably the three that I'm really looking at. I mean, Amani Hooker is also extremely young. Wouldn't be the worst move. I think I'm going to wait on strong safety. At CB2, William Jackson's like, what, 28 now? 29. Ugh. And if you're wondering why that name or that age is so important, 28 is the age of regression for nearly every position in Madden. So it's really important to draft players that are younger than 28. I also love the idea of taking Dax Hill down the board to play like either corner or safety. So maybe we just wait on him. It's not a bad idea to get these younger, worse overall players because they're going to be better long term. I also haven't taken an offensive lineman because I don't think I need to. We can just kind of wait on some of these guys. I think pretty much whatever offensive line we throw out there is just going to be pretty good. I don't need them to be elite. I need them to be good enough. So I've taken Aaron Donald. I've taken Rashawn Gary. I've taken Denzel Ward, and I've taken Antoine Winfield Jr. This is where we need to decide if we're going to be a 3-4 or a 4-3. And I think I might just go Javon Hargrave and run a 4-3. We'll have Javon Hargrave, and we'll have Aaron Donald at defensive tackle. Rashawn Gary will come down to play defensive end. We need to pick up another edge rusher, and we desperately need off-ball linebackers. So those are linebackers that are not going to rush the quarterback, that are going to be decent enough in coverage, good enough athletes. The one that stands out to me maybe would be Dre Greenlaw. Jerome Baker, never a bad option. Still only normal dev. They give him normal dev every year, but he's still like a young, good player. I kind of don't get it. So Kayvon Thibodeau's off the board. I was really going to target him, but not available. However, a player around his same age, same overall, same development trait in Azeez Ojulari is still available. And I think he's going to be a good fit because he is going to get better long term. He's only 22 years old. I don't think he's going to be available anymore. Like, if Kayvon Thibodeau's off the board, it's not going to be long on a guy like Azeez Ojulari. 22 years old with star dev and a 75 overall. It's pretty good. Now, Garrett Bowles isn't as young as you would think because he was drafted as a 25-year-old out of Utah. Still not the worst option. Andrew Thomas also available. I've taken way too many Giants players. I wouldn't normally do this because the roster's not good, but they just seem to be the right picks. I think I'm going to go with kind of a weird one here. Take Corey Linsley. Is a Charger in real life, but even though he's 31 years old, he plays offensive line. He's going to regress at a better rate compared to skill position players. He's a 91 overall. My theory with this draft pick is he'll make the rest of the offensive line better. Ooh, Quinn Miners out of Wisconsin Whitewater. Senior Bowl standout is off the board next. Ooh, and there goes Andrew Thomas. Christian Darrisaw, probably the next man up. Does have star dev. I'm just going to take him. Yeah, give me Jerome Baker before he goes off the board. At least I know I'm getting a good athlete at the position that's still young. Need two more of those. Two more off-ball linebackers. A lot of these safeties are still sitting on the board. This might be the time to take Jordan Poyer. He is 31, but he's also still very good. Was an all-pro first-team player last year. I'm going to take Jordan Poyer, despite being 31 years old. Still, I think the right pick at this time. So many good young corners available. I don't really think we have to take any of these guys now. Eli Apple, Jesus. Also, this is how I just found out that Deontay Harris changed his name to Deontay Hardy. Interesting. Trey Hendrickson's probably the best value pick left on the board. Only normal development, but I think he's just the best player here. Kind of surprised to see TJ Edwards here. He's a 79 overall, 95 tackle. Do I just take TJ Edwards? I guess so. He's 26. That'll be all right. As just a quick solution to the offensive line, we'll take Kevin Zeitler. He's 32, which really isn't that old at offensive guard. 85 overall. The normal dev is probably what's keeping him on the board, but I don't really see it being a problem at right guard. And there goes Deontay Hardy. Haven't taken a tight end yet, so I think I'm going to take the athletic tight end out of Mizzou, Albert Okwuegbunam. He's 24 years old, only normal dev, but does have 88 speed. Is the new starting tight end in Denver. I actually think very highly of the player. Loved him at Mizzou, and I think that given more opportunities now with Noah Fant in Seattle, Albert Okwuegbunam can be a really, really good player. So on defense, I really could use another corner. Am I just waiting on the younger guys to get here? Maybe I'll take one older, higher-rated player. Like Jason Verrett, to me, makes a lot of sense to play on the boundary. He's obviously a really good player. He struggled so heavily with injuries his entire career. But when he's been on the field, he has been so good. Loved him at TCU, too. Even as a Texas fan, he was awesome. He was so good. And we're going to bring him in. He's played on the Chargers before, and hopefully he can just stay healthy. Okay, so corner is good for right now. Receiver is in a rough spot. Julio's still here. I mean, we have some of the best receivers of the early 2010s. Not great in 2022. Quez Watkins is interesting. 98 speed in game. 87 catching. Quez Watkins is going to be my pick here. 98 speed. I knew he was fast. I didn't know he was 98 speed fast. Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable. Like, for perspective, a guy like Jalen Waddle, who's one of the fastest players in the league, not named Tyreek Hill, I think probably only has 96 or 97 speed in game, which is still blazing fast, but it's not 98. That's crazy. Also, Cordero Patterson's an interesting option. I just don't know what he would be rated as a receiver in game. Route running is okay, and I'd be playing him at receiver. Probably going to avoid him. Brian Bulaga's been on the board forever. Also, another former Charger. I think we're going to take him. 33 years old, but is still good. And if we're trying to win a championship, which we should be in position to do with how talented this roster is, just got to stay good and get good players. Need another off-ball linebacker. Tyus Bowser could be a good combo. He's a combo player in real life. I keep saying combo player, but he's a hybrid guy. Not the best in coverage, but he's an interesting option. And he's actually going to be the option I end up settling on. 77 overall, 27 years old. not the best long-term play. Like, he's never going to be a stud for this team, but he'll be good enough right now. I've kind of gone away from my usual strategy. It seems like the draft logic has changed, where they're taking a lot of the younger players and leaving more talent on the board. So I'm just kind of thinking, why not take advantage of that and just get good players and win a Super Bowl now and figure out the rest of the problems later. Ooh, and this is a good pick here. Treylon Burks, going to have normal dev, but is 22 years old and offers us something that we really don't have, which is a big slot who's talented after the catch. Treylon Burks, I basically just drafted Cordarrelle Patterson in a way for the role that he'll play in the offense. That's all right. And the corners down the board are really not good. So I think I'm just going to take the highest rated one, which is Xavier Rhodes. I kind of want more of a slot guy, though, to be honest. It's just not going to happen. The third corner is going to be a weak spot for this team. I think the best one is Xavier Rhodes, so he'll be my pick here in, I don't even know where. We took him at number 723 overall. Round 24 now, that's where we are. Let's go with Sky Moore. It's kind of bizarre to see him only with 89 speed. He's a really fast, explosive player. They gave him 95 acceleration, so okay, maybe that's kind of the best build for him. He's got pretty good long speed though. 89 feels a little bit low, but the 95 acceleration is really good. And now sorting by age, you can get some really good value players, some of the younger players in this past draft, like Logan Hall, good hybrid player. You know, at Houston, he was like a hybrid defensive tackle, still came off the edge at times. Not really like a super advanced pass rusher. Does have a good bull rush, though. Kind of surprised not seeing him with the bull rush, but he has a swim move trait. A little bizarre, but he's a good athlete. I think would be a really good fit for our defense. Probably is a defensive tackle for us. If we went to a 3-4, obviously that would change a little bit because we would probably have, you know, Logan Hall as a backup defensive end, Aaron Donald starting at end. Javon Hargrave probably would be an end, which means we would need a nose tackle. And thankfully, there's a really good one here. Tyson Alualu. He is 35 years old. Of course, you probably remember he was a top 10 pick coming out of Cal in 2010? 2010 draft. That feels right. But I think the last pick I'm going to take is to get a starting left guard. I think I'm going to go with the first round pick, Cole Strange. Only going to have normal dev, but he is 24. Is that enough to offset his low overall? We'll go with it. 24 years old already, man. That's rough. And I'll let the CPU handle the rest. I think I'm really happy with how that draft played out. We got some of the best players in the league at different positions. Our offense, like, it doesn't look amazing. Looks like they want to play Philip Dorsett, which I don't want to do. We'll do Tyler Lockett, Quez Watkins, Treylon Burks, Sky Moore. I think that's a pretty good four. Our offensive line obviously doesn't look amazing because we have a backup tight end playing backup left guard in Adam Shaheen. All right, and also another tight end in Devin Asiasi at backup right guard. But depth on the offensive line in an injury-free league is not important. I'm not worried about it. Defensively, got Tyus Bowser. Boye Mafe, that's actually a pretty good young pick. Super freak athlete out of Minnesota. I don't want tutorials. He could be a very decent option for us long term. Very lucky the CPU drafted him. But as I said, I drafted this team to be a 4-3, and I think that's what we're going to go to. And does it make the most sense to do that? You know, maybe it doesn't. All right, it is a power outage season in Texas, in Houston. So, unfortunately, my power went out. I went over all the teams. I went over the playoffs, and you now know. Talked about some of the playbooks and things like that. And as I was outroing the video, boom, power was out for maybe 3 seconds. Just enough to turn off my computer and my lights and everything, obviously. But some of these teams are really interesting, especially starting with the Bears and Patrick Mahomes, because, and I'm not sure if I ever put this video out, it's definitely written down in my ideas. I probably will never get to it, but it's like, what if you go back to that 2017 draft class and replace Patrick Mahomes with Mitchell Trubisky and vice versa? A little Freaky Friday action, trading places. Would Patrick Mahomes be the same player we know him as today? Maybe, maybe not, because with player development, especially at quarterback, situation is so pivotal and important to their success that maybe Patrick Mahomes is a middling quarterback if he went to Chicago. And you'd like to think, okay, athleticism plus traits, arm talent through the roof, amazing velocity, strength, accuracy. Mahomes is it at quarterback, but would he have ever risen to that if not for playing in Kansas City with Andy Reid and sitting for a year behind Alex Smith, learning the playbook? Who knows? But they've got a decent team. Alvin Kamara, A.J. Terrell, decent young team with potential. The Bengals, we got Deebo Samuel, Darius Leonard, DeMarcus Lawrence. Probably just going to go over the 90 pluses on these teams. Christian McCaffrey, Cam Jordan, Kyle Pitts. They got Minka Fitzpatrick, Devontae Adams, Tyron Smith, Chris Jones, Justin Simmons, Jamal Adams with the Broncos. Very good team. The Browns have Justin Herbert, J.C. Jackson, C.D. Lamb, Deron Payne. Even J.J. Watt is on the Browns now. The Bucks have Micah Parsons, Darren Waller, Shaq Barrett, Michael Pittman Jr., very good. Cardinals end up with George Kittle, steal him from the Niners. And another one, former Niner, DeForest Buckner. Also have Danielle Hunter, who's quite good. Chargers, you know all about that team. Chiefs have Myles Garrett, Demario Davis, Chris Godwin, La'el Collins, Chris Lindstrom I saw in there as well. The Colts are, probably one of the worst teams in here. And they don't even look all that young either. They're not old by any means, so they probably drafted a ton of young players. Trevor Lawrence definitely fits the bill there. Javon Kinlaw, Kenneth Walker. Well, I think he's just going by Ken now, but Jeffrey Simmons, Ryan Jensen, Kendall Fuller, Eric Armstead. It's not great. Commanders, the Commies, with Jair Alexander, Wyatt Teller, Eric Kendricks, Devontae Smith, steal him from the Eagles, division rival. Cowboys with Josh Allen, keep Zeke, get Chase Young, another stolen from a division rival. Jalen Waddle also in here. Rashawn Slater, very good. Dolphins get Lamar Jackson, and he's like a Miami guy, so that's kind of cool. Or at least the area. South Florida for sure, Florida. Kenny Clark, Ronnie Stanley, A.J. Brown. Eagles get Dak, Micah Hyde, Aaron Jones, DJ Moore, Marlon Humphrey, Frank Ragnow. They got a lot of high-rated players on this team. Falcons get Dalvin Cook. They have a lot of 90-plus, too. A lot of guys right at that mark. Stephon Diggs, Matt Judon, Josh Allen, Adrian Amos. Javon Holland in there is going to be sick as well. Niners have Levante David. I can hear that thunder going. If you shut off my power again, I'm going to freak. I'm going to stop the recording. I'll start it again. Just don't want to risk losing the file. DK Metcalf, stealing him from the Seahawks. Darius Slay, Braden Smith. They also have Trey Lance. Scheme fit matters a lot for the fantasy drafts. That's why you'll see guys just go to the same team a lot. The Giants, though. I'd trade this any day. Give me this Giants team tomorrow, please. They got Nuke and DeAndre Hopkins, Mark Andrews, Joe Burrow, Marshawn Lattimore, Austin Eckler, Devin McCourty, DJ Reader. It's a good team. I mean, Joe Burrow is the big one, though. Jags get Justin Jefferson, Lane Johnson, Devondre Campbell, Max Crosby, Joe Tooney. Jets with Nick Bosa, Tyrann Mathieu, Joel Bitonio, Adam Thielen, Kenny Moore, one of the best slot corners in the league, finally rated high. Good to see him in that range. Lions get Nick Chubb, Cooper Kupp, two of the best players, arguably top 2 or 3 players at their position. So, not bad. I don't know that I would have Cooper Kupp. Amazing 2021. I don't know that he's a top 3 receiver for me. He's definitely close. Really good player. Nick Chubb, though, certainly a top 3 running back for me. Xavier Howard, Ryan Ramczyk, Harrison Smith, playoff Lenny, Colton Miller as well. Packers end up with Tyreek Hill. They sure could use a receiver like him right now. Keep David Bakhtiari, TJ Hawkinson, steal him from the Lions. Chandler Jones, Hunter Renfrow, see Calais Campbell. The Panthers really playing for just this season. They go old. Tom Brady, Zach Martin, Von Miller. The youngest player in their top 3 is a 31-year-old, albeit very good. Trey White, also get Justin Tucker, hook 'em horns. What a beast. Hollywood Brown in there as well, Michael Gallup. Pats, very, very, very good team. Maybe the best team in here, at least in terms of how top-heavy they appear to be. 399s, Jalen Ramsey, Derrick Henry, Trent Williams. Again, 2 of the top players at their position. Jalen Ramsey, certainly a top 2 corner in the league, if not the best corner. I think he is. Trent Williams, probably the best left tackle in the league right now. He was unbelievable last year and the year before. Roquan Smith, Michael Pierce, Jamar Chase, Brandon Cooks, Melvin Ingram, CJ Mosley. I can't really react big to him. It's not like it's 2015. Raiders get Quentin Nelson, Amari Cooper. He was actually drafted by the Raiders. Russell Wilson, steal him from the Broncos, which still sounds weird to say. Brandon Sheriff, Quentin Williams, Rams get TJ Watt, another really good team. Travis Kelce, Vita Vea, Stephon Gilmore, Calvin Ridley, Creed Humphrey, Robert Quinn. Ravens with Fred Warner, Joe Mixon, Khalil Mack. The sack attack for the purple and black now. We got Jason Kelce, Michael Thomas. Jordan Mailata is up to an 87. What is his dev trait? Star. I'm down with that. I thought it could have even been superstar, to be honest. Saints with Jonathan Taylor, Cam Hayward, Keenan Allen, Marcus Williams is back with the Saints after leaving in free agency. Seahawks with Tristan Wirfs, Kevin Byard. He feels like a Seahawk for some reason. Brian Burns, Josh Jacobs, Kyler Murray. Steal him from the Cardinals. Chidobe Awuzie. Steelers with Derwin James, Joey Bosa, Teron Armstead, Rodney Hudson. Texans with Scary Terry, B-Wags, Najee Harris, Laramie Tunsil, who they have in real life, Kyle Juszczyk. Titans with Mike Evans. Wow, this is also a really bad team. Oh my God. Mike Evans, Devin White, Mike Gesicki. But this is a team that looks like it's going to be better in the long term. Check out the ages. Mike Evans, 29, 24, 26, 34 for Stafford is the outlier. 24, 29, 25, 24, 22 for Jordan Davis. 23 for Jed Wills. 24 for Xavier McKinney. This team, you'd bet on them being good in a few years probably. And the Vikings have John Allen, Budda Baker, Jesse Bates. Yeah. But unfortunately, with my power going out, you guys missed how we performed. Ended up going 9-8, just sneaking into the playoffs despite going 1-4 in our final 5 games of the season. Kind of a collapse there. And then we would win our wild card matchup by a touchdown over the Chiefs, and then lose to the Patriots, who we saw are very, very good in the divisional. But we were a higher overall. We were an 88 to their 86, and they ended up making it to the Super Bowl. Super Bowl rematch, Panthers-Falcons, 28-3 revenge game, potentially. And the winner of that game is the Atlanta Falcons. Finally a Super Bowl coming to Atlanta, 34-21. And our 2022 season recap. If we restarted the NFL with a fantasy draft, here's how it would go. The Atlanta Falcons win the Super Bowl. The MVP is Adrian Amos. And then the yearly awards, we have Joe Burrow winning MVP. Patriots head coach, a.k.a. Bill Belichick, winning coach of the year. Joe Burrow winning offensive player of the year. Myles Garrett, defensive player of the year with the Chiefs. Offensive rookie of the year is Jameson Williams. And their defensive rookie of the year with the Cardinals is Kayvon Thibodeau, future Giants Hall of Famer. I hope so. I would be so happy about that. But we'll see. Hopefully with the Giants. I'm hoping he's going to be a monster. We'll see, though. But that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Take it easy.